Proverbs 4, verse 1. Listen, my sons, to a father's instructions. Pay attention and gain understanding. When my girls were little, they loved putting puzzles together on our dining room table. So first things first, we would pick out the puzzle and take the box off, and we would dump all of the pieces out on the table. And then you know what happens. You have to take every puzzle piece and flip it over so that the top colored part was the part that was showing. And then, right before we started to pick out the four corners and begin to build the border, we would take the box and we would set it up on the corner of the table so that we could see the picture on the front of the box. Because the picture on the front of the box is ultimately what you're trying to build. All of the pieces that are in front of you are going to be put together in a specific order to make that picture. Here's the thing about a puzzle. You can have all of the right pieces in all the right direction right on the table in front of you. But if you don't know what you're building, it's going to be practically impossible to put it together. Man, it'll be a wreck. It's just mass chaos of just oddly placed and configured pieces. But see, all of these pieces in our lives come together to make a great picture. But if you don't know how the pieces fit together, then all it is frustration and untapped potential. It's going to take you 10 times as long to do everything if you even get it accomplished. A puzzle is exactly what life can feel like sometimes. And in verse 1, Solomon tells his boys, the key to the puzzle is looking at the cover, the picture on the front of the box. It shows you what your life is eventually going to look like, all of the pieces put together just perfectly. So he says, listen, pay attention to the front of the box. Wisdom will show you what your life can look like. Verse 23, he closes by saying, and above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guard your heart in this pursuit of wisdom. Solomon, being a king, would know what it was like to be guarded, to have bodyguards around him. His sons would have understood they lived under protection 24/7. And he says, boys, with your heart, surround it with a security team. Put up security cameras, motion detectors, bodyguards, have a bouncer that makes sure that nothing comes into your heart or goes out of your heart that you don't understand. This verse applies to us today as well. Now, you might not be an important enough person to have a security team around you at all times, but the challenge is that we still have to guard our hearts. What comes into our hearts? Well, it's the shows that you watch, the music that you listen to, the things that you read. All of the information that we consume informs our heart. So Solomon says, hey, wait, put a guard in front of that. Make sure you don't allow anything to come into your life and into your heart that you don't want, that would harm you, that would take you off of this path. Boys, you are the gatekeeper. You're the door holder for your life. Nothing comes in without first passing by the guard. Your heart is similar to the For You page on your Instagram, or maybe your Netflix homepage. It shows you more of what you've already seen. It just continues to feed it. So be careful what you let in. Notice the progression in verse 20. My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ears to my words. Verse 21. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart. Verse 24. Keep your mouth free of perversion. Keep direct and corrupt talk away from your lips. Verse 26, give careful thought to the paths of your feet and be steadfast in all of your ways. Listen, he says, what you hear, you turn and look at. Now think about that. If you're ever in a store and you hear a loud noise, what do? You immediately turn and what was that? Your ears go to your eyes. Then whatever you stare at long enough, you begin to desire. It's how advertising works, right? It's what commercials are all about. You see it, and now all of a sudden, you want it. It becomes a desire of your heart. And then Solomon says, out of your heart, your mouth speaks. Whatever's really inside, the Bible says, is going to flow out of your mouth. And finally, what comes out of your mouth then begins to direct the paths of your feet. It sets the direction of your life. Ears, eyes, heart, mouth, feet. That is the path to either wisdom or folly. Don't try to put the pieces of the puzzle together without looking at the picture on the front of the box first. Proverbs chapter 4.